Welcome in the Stiffs. Thank you very much to our sponsors for Series 2, Budgeon Motors. Been established for 40 years, best car dealership in Shropshire.
Debatable.
Well, we've all had cars from there. Gav, you been to Budgeon?
Yeah, a few times now.
Dave, too big time. He only wants Teslas, doesn't he?
But to be fair though, they do Teslas. Do any car. You want a car, they get your car.
I just spoke tonight. They are fast, to be fair.
Dave's backed himself a car.
Backed them. You know they're good when Dave's on side with them.
I've been offered 20%.
Have we sorted out the discount? Come down to Budgeon, mentioning the Stiffs, and what we'll have to sort out. What's that discount?
Yeah, about 90%.
Yeah, we'll have
just
to
don't
sort
tell
that.
the MD.
That'll have to be sorted out at the showroom.
Yeah, to be confirmed, that one.
Yeah. Ponsonby Parish Hall. You know you've made it if you're Ponsonby Parish Hall. You're going to go Virgil van Dijk, Gav, aren't you, obviously? The lads love having a bit of a scrap on the pitch. The fans love it.
At the end of the day, it's a big business, isn't it? And there's a lot riding on it. School teacher doesn't want to have an intellectual conversation. I did a GMVQ in leisure and tourism. One day at 20 years old gets released.
The clubs need those players because then they carry better ones.
I'm now like getting contracts annually and that's it.
Annually.
Yeah. Come in then, come and work for Apple.
Steve Jobs out of the way, mate.
Young footballers should be doing something. It's crazy that they're not. I remember you seeing it.
Even if they don't know what they want to do when they're older, do something. Do something.
You can't just go and play golf every day. Kevin Street is a vicar.
He actually moved to Vegas, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he?
He's made more from poker than he did football.
I do that. Remember Ken Moncow?
Yeah.
Pancake chef. Is there much money in jiu-jitsu? He's a better artist than footballer. If you had Jody, Gav and Mark Wright in the same group, you would have hype in like Julian Dick's tackle on David Rush. You get instant, brutal feedback.
Golden ticket to be here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We put in X amount of years in this industry for 10, 15 years. And you just walk in.
Like what we did last time, but on steroids, a million times better.
I hope you proof check some of these.
Yeah, we'll get sued, yeah. Welcome to another episode of In the Stiffs, sponsored by Budgeon Motors, best car dealership in the whole of Shropshire. Lads, it's Sunday night, isn't it? This is getting released on the Tuesday. Had a good day, Dave?
Yeah, I had kids football this morning. Didn't win, but good fun. And then my little girl had her very first drama performance this afternoon. She was child number 3 in Fantastic Mr. Fox and a Weasel. Wow. But she loved it. So I did that this afternoon at Ponsonby Parish Hall, and then
Ponsonby Parish Hall. You know you've made it if you're Ponsonby Parish Hall.
And then, come see you lads.
Gav, what about you?
Yeah, kids football this morning, dance and gymnastics after that, and then just trying to take in some of the football whilst entertaining the kids and try and practicing cartwheels.
Can I just point out as well? Oh, you were practicing cartwheels.
Me and Meadow, practicing cartwheels.
Okay.
Have you never seen me do a cartwheel? No. I was the under 14 South East Essex champion.
Okay with that. Can we get a video of that and stick that on YouTube? Well, we said we'd be more organised, didn't we, this series? But it's actually Sunday night, and this has got to be released on Tuesday, hasn't it? So you're going to have no sleep on your edit and all this. We're just watching Man City Liverpool this afternoon. Liverpool won 1-0. And I was just watching the game, and I thought, when I meet up with the lads later, I'm going to ask the lads which player they were most like on the pitch.
There's not one I was like out of all them lads.
I was going to say for you, Gav, I was going to say the ref.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking, obviously, you're going to go...
Or the fourth. I don't even think the ref was...
You're going to go Virgil van Dijk, Gav, aren't you, obviously? That's who you would... Like, obviously, it's levels, isn't it? But that's who...
It's who I would have aspired to try and be, maybe 0.001%.
Who would you say were most like, though, Virgil van Dijk?
I would try to be like him. Obviously, the execution wasn't always as it should be, but that's the type of player that would have been my role model.
Yeah.
Yeah, so John Terry, growing up, obviously, was sort of my year, John Terry. But
He wasn't playing today, though.
No, he wasn't, sorry. You're right. If we're specifically talking today,
Virgil van Dijk. And Dave, I've got one in my head for you, but go on, who would you say that Liverpool-Man City game today?
Well, I would aspire to be...
Who are you most like, or who was your style most like?
Again, not many of them. Probably Henderson when he comes on. I'd have liked to have been like De Bruyne, athletic midfielder, but without the quality at the end.
Look a little bit like him. Facially, legs and feet completely. I was going to say Gundogan for you. Because like getting in the box and that and getting a goal.
Yeah, maybe he arrives the odd header, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, arrives late.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, definitely.
Van Dijk.
You've obviously got
said Van Dijk for me.
You've obviously got yourself lined up.
Well, mine's obvious. Mine's obvious, isn't it?
No. I'm
Mo Salah. 100%. Who you know the same? Mo Salah. I was watching him and I was just going, Flipping it, he's a lot like me. No? No one else see it?
Same hair.
Hair and everything. I thought, there we are.
Maybe the
Mo
hair.
Salah.
Is that who you go with? Direct?
What?
making
I thought it was done. I was ready to move on to talk
just
about the
didn't know
next
you were being serious
agenda
or not,
number,
that's all.
item number 2.
The calmness, the coolness of the finish.
Yeah, the finish. We just listen over the keeper.
The composure.
One-on-one. He just doesn't. Yeah, one-on-one.
Because he doesn't wear them blinker things, does he?
All right, so.
But so
I'd
he's
sort of
quick.
sum that up, give that a little bit of thought,
He's
thinking like,
quick,
the lads be on
direct.
board with this.
He's like, quick direct,
That's what
isn't
I
he?
mean,
Like,
yeah,
chases everything.
Yeah.
Just trying to find, because I can't quite get what you're saying.
You're just trying to tap into my
Trying to
mentality. I'm going, what's Sam on about? Yeah, I'm just trying to tap into his mindset. Mo Salah, where's he got that from?
So basically, we've got De Bruyne, Van Dijk, and Salah.
Mo Salah sitting, yeah.
You have to rename the
Gundogan.
podcast.
That's good. Gundy, I think Dave's more Gundogan,
Yeah,
isn't he?
that's it.
Arriving.
He scored some goals in, didn't he?
Yeah, quality.
How good
Mo
was
Salah.
the game? Did he want? I did. Lads,
It was almost like it was quite plausible for me and Van Dijk and you were Gundogan. When we got to Sam, it was
I'm just going back to when we did that in the stiffs, get the balls out.
none of us really shone.
Yeah, it was windy the one night, and I didn't have my copers on.
He looked back at it.
Oh,
didn't
he
Van
was
Dijk?
amazing. He's class.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. I love Haaland as well, obviously, but Mo Salah, different level. It was good
Yeah,
to
it was
Liverpool,
class.
though.
Nice to see, actually, wasn't it? Like both teams going for it.
Oh, it's a
Unbelievable
different
quality.
sport. I keep saying that. Whenever them two play each other, it's a different sport.
Yeah.
And though, like how the refs like letting it go a little
it's
bit.
better, it's better this year,
isn't
isn't it?
that, Paul, but like there's tackles going in and stuff, and I was like, come on, let's have a little bit of that.
Well, there's a big thing at the start of the season about it, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Saying they're going to let contact go. They said it's been getting too
I think
pathetic in
everyone's
recent years.
relieved, don't they? I get a sense of everybody's quite relieved that now referees are being given the guidance of, look, let things go a little bit more, let it be. And even, did you see Bernardo Silva's interview after the game? Even he was obviously having a bit of a moan up about the decision, understandably, but he adhered to the fact that, like, and the referee, we want him to be consistent because obviously it was a slight pull. Through the game, he'd been letting it go, which is fine. It seems like the players are quite happy for that to be the case as well, aren't they?
Everybody loves it though. It's like when there's a big fight on the pitch and the commentators go, no one likes to see it, and you're like, no, everybody likes to see it. The lads love having a bit of a scrap on the pitch. The fans love it.
But the biggest turning point in the game, wasn't it, is when that goal got disallowed and the Liverpool fans, massive reaction off the back of it, and then they just took off then, didn't they, for the next 15 minutes?
You think it was a foul, Dave?
Yeah, he's pulled his shirt, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think.
Do you know one thing they didn't say in the post-match discussions? I think as well, he's bought it a little bit. I think he's felt a little bit of a tug, and I think he's gone down. He's actually
Liverpool cheating again.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Fabinho. I think what he's done is he's sort of bought it a little bit, and which is quite risky because if it hadn't been given, he could have been in trouble.
One thing's a shame with VAR now, though. I was watching the Wolves game on Match of the Day yesterday. You see the penalty that I think it was Toffolo gave away. So no one in the ground has seen it. The referee hasn't seen it. Yeah. He's had a shot. Toffolo's kind of put his arm out just at the very last second, clipped his hand, but no one saw it at all. But he knows in his head it's a penalty.
Yeah,
There's no way I'm getting away with this.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously in our day or any other league, you think, I've got away with one there.
What?
But it's
literally touched you on the hand, Gavin. No.
So the ref's given a corner, everyone's running off, then all of a sudden Toffolo looks at the ref and he's holding his earpiece like, oh, wait there, I'm checking a penalty, and he must be thinking, oh shit.
Yeah. No hiding, is it?
Not at
no
all.
hiding.
Nothing at all.
Do we like VAR then? You like it, Gav?
I just like the game to be as organic as I get it now. Like at the end of the day, it's a big business, isn't it? And there's a lot riding on it. So if you're an owner of a football club and it goes against you, and it balances out, but I always feel like decisions always balanced out. And obviously, when they go for you, brilliant, and when they don't, they don't. But football is an emotional game. It is about it being organic, and I think it just manufactures it a little bit more. Too much for me.
So it's organic and it manufactures it?
I think it's manufactured. I don't think it's organic. I think it takes away the game being an organic entity. And I think like the fact that...
Flipping heck. What philosophical there? Explain.
Like, well, do you know what I mean? Like, this is the levels I work at now. Do you know what I mean? Me and Van Dijk, we have these discussions all the time.
I like VAR. I do. I think it gets more right than it does wrong. The only thing I dislike about it is when they slow it down too much. So if it's a handball or something like that, then I understand when they slow it down. You know the red cards they give, and then they slow it down for the contact. I think that takes all context out of it completely. Because when they slow a high tackle down, it looks horrific, doesn't it? But if you play it at full speed...
That Michael Thomas goal in injury time for Arsenal all them years ago against Liverpool, that's gone down in history. That would never have stood. I think it's moments like that, it creates moments, doesn't it? Like, I think that's sport.
If there's any doubt, like, just stick with the on-field decision.
Yeah,
That's what I
definitely,
hate, when they're going over to it and they look at it and you still can't even agree. And even when you've watched it 10 times, us three might still disagree on what it is. So if there's any sort of discussion like that, just stick with the decision. If it's obvious, of course, change it. But even like at today, whereas it's probably a foul, but it's not the most obvious one in the world, is it? But like, just...
Bernardo Silva said it, didn't he? They've been pulling each other, kicking each other, been letting it go all game. That's probably nowhere near the worst. Probably could have let it go, but when you look at it back, he does tug him. So letter of the law.
Yeah.
It's not organic enough.
It's not an organic entity, that.
School teacher don't want to talk about. School teacher doesn't want to have an intellectual conversation.
I was just wondering how football's an organic entity, but anyway, we're coming up. Like podcast, I listened to the Skitty podcast. I thought that was class.
What a guy.
Have you bothered listening?
Yeah, I
to this
listen.
one, Dave? You don't normally listen to Dave, does he? He doesn't normally bother.
No, I listened. Honestly, I loved it. Yeah, I listened to a lot of driving this week, so I had to pass the time.
Dave's downloaded an episode of it. Stiff's brilliant. That's good.
Dave's had just all the bits of me and you cut out.
No, it was brilliant. That though, I think it was because we did it a bit of time ago, and I'd forgotten a lot of it. But yeah, it was really.
He was actually. I know it's probably shouldn't be saying this, but he was our first ever guest, wasn't
Yeah.
he? So.
Yeah.
He was amazing, settled us down, and then after doing the Skitty one, we thought, yeah, we were on something here. We can get more guests on, but it was class.
And it's real fascinating. I think we can, with the players, we can relate because it's all the same sort of stuff. But Skitty just from a different perspective, isn't it? Which I thought was quite interesting for us.
I think that's something we've got to look at again as well. Getting someone in from football clubs who aren't players, whether it be some referee or different sort of fitness coaches, just something different, a different perspective on football.
Yeah, some of the feedback I've had from some friends is, and I think we had a tweet about it, just saying that they thought it was brilliant from a football perspective, education, life, because we covered quite a lot of ground on it, didn't we? And obviously someone who, like, from a different perspective gives you that, don't they? And I think he did that, didn't he? Quality, wasn't he? Great guy, innit? It's always great when you've got someone like that.
Class.
And you need to, I think as well, we're losing it a little bit at the moment, you need someone like Skitty around the football club, especially on your staff. If you're a manager and you've got someone like him on your staff, you are flying.
The lads love him though.
Yeah. But
and also be professional, do everything right. But if you've got a bit of personality as well.
But that's the skill though, isn't it? If you're a manager, you're always looking at your staff and you want them to have a good rapport with the players, but you also want them to keep a little bit of distance, understand that, look, there is a bit of a divide and we are the staff and you need to respect it and stuff like that. I think someone like Skitty, I don't know what it is, but you've got to have that skill, and I think he's got it, hasn't he? He's got that skill, being able to have that banter with the players, but also command respect.
It was funny what he said about when he was saying being a physio, and he was like 20% of it is the medical side, and he was sort of 80%. It was all sort of looking after them and being a counsellor and looking after the mentality of it all. He says that's a huge part of it.
I can see that, definitely.
The bit about when as well Paul Hurst was investing in him around signing players.
Yeah.
Giving him a nod a couple of weeks later, and he's having to go through social media posts and he's having to do all of his due diligence on the players.
But if you're paying money, though, isn't it? You just want to check you're getting the right characters, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Trusted again, though, isn't he? Like, I don't reckon there's many physios being asked to do that.
No. So if you haven't listened to it, make sure you download it.
If you haven't listened to it, you should have listened to it. Yeah. Should be listening to that.
I'll turn this off.
Turn this one off. Put that one on. That one's loads better. What do we think when it's just the three of us, though? I quite like it sometimes.
It takes us back to our roots, doesn't it?
A couple of people said to me that they like it more.
I always forget
that
we're
was
recording.
The kids, though.
I always forget we're recording. That's the danger for me. Get a little bit carried away.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought today we'd talk a little bit about life after football. I think there's sort of split up into three. I mean, I think there's some people who are in the football system and end up, might get released, whether it be 10, 13, 14, 16, whatever, 17. So they have to start doing whatever and build another career, don't they? I think you've also got them who have to start another career because they've never really made it as a footballer. You've got the other lads, I won't put myself in this bracket, who's like lower league footballer, who you're never going to earn enough money to retire, so you've got to get a career afterwards, which I think can be quite hard in some ways if you've been a professional for 15 years. And then you've got the other lads who's probably played in the Prem, who've earned a great deal of money and then still retire, but have got plenty of money in the bank, so they don't need another career, but also that can also bring its own problems as well, can't it? I think there's three different areas there. We're talking about nowadays in like the academy system, and they do a lot like the aftercare and stuff, and they try to give the kids like a better education and try to help them do A levels, because I think like back in our day, you might remember this, Gav, because I wasn't an apprentice, but you were. everybody used to do like a BTEC in travel and tourism, didn't they? You'd have like 25 kids getting released when they're 18, all with a BTEC in travel and tourism. I mean, the standard of applicants Thomas Cook must have had, like, in town, must have been staggering.
I did a GMVQ in leisure and tourism.
Leisure and tourism. Just like,
Leisure and tourism. We went to the college and we were too unruly.
I was going to say, I can't imagine you were sensitive. I can't imagine you, Gav, at 17, knuckling down and grafting it.
Well, you genuinely believe at that time, and it doesn't, like you think you're the dog's bollocks, don't you? You think you're going to be a player. You walk down the street with a training kit on, having yourself. You walk into a college and you're like, right, well, what we'll do is we'll completely ignore what that teacher's saying, chase all the girls. Like all the other lads then are like trying to fight you and all that. I think it was in a month we ended up getting put into the players' lounge at the ground, and that was where we had to do our study
away from the other college.
Yeah, and I always remember. I don't want to get anyone. I can't even remember the geezer's name, but he sat us down. He went, right, lads, you've got an advanced and you've got what it'll be like intermediate or whatever.
Foundation.
Yeah, like something like that. Which one do you want to do? And everyone was like, obviously, just want to do just enough to get through. And he went, what you're going to do is we've got these lads. They're from Nottingham Forest. So this was them last year. We're just going to give you their work and copy it. So I went, well, what does it take to get the advanced? And he was like, oh, you just have to do another like 6 units. You just have to copy their work because they didn't want to do the work.
Copy another 6 units.
Yeah, they knew we weren't going to do the work. They didn't really want to be travelling all the way over to. So in the end, you just to get there. And it was me and another lad called Scott Walker, and I think we were the only ones who just said we'd do the advanced, and we just like smashed it out. Just copied all this work, handed it in, and got an advanced in gym. So if anyone wants to know about that,
anyone wants any advice on leisure and tourism, I'm the guy to go.
The thing is, if you asked me to give you a synopsis on leisure and tourism, I wouldn't have a clue what I'm talking.
I know a lad from Notts Forest.
Oh yeah, he'd be right.
Some lads put some proper.
He'd be well.
Thank you to that person.
But the funny thing is though, when we talk about like after that, when I was at Shrewsbury and I was thinking, right, I need to stop this Tuesday club and drinking and stuff like that and R&B night or whatever it was called. Like for me, it was like, right, I need to do something. So that's when I phoned Shrewsbury College, phoned up and I was like, yeah, I want to try and get onto a degree course.
How old were you when you did that?
27.
So that's same as me sort of thing. So when you get to that age, that's when you start to realise, don't you?
Yeah.
But these days, do they? I mean, I think they get a bit more help now, don't they? I think. I mean, I know.
Yeah.
I was speaking to a dad the other day whose kids at Barnsley, and he's doing A levels and stuff whilst doing his YT. Whereas obviously back in the day, he never did that.
But they did. That's what they did, didn't they? A levels probably not, because I don't think most of the lads were bright enough. I certainly wasn't. But for me though, just going back, I phoned Shrewsbury College and they were like, "Oh, you haven't really done anything since school." And I did all right. I got like 6 A to C's, GCSE, like better than what I thought I was going to do. And he was like, sorry, because you haven't done anything, I can't really accept you onto this, like it's a HND course that they do, higher national. It's like the first 2 years of uni before you go and do the last year if you're lucky. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And then they went away and looked and they went, oh, we've just seen on a system there that have you done a GMVQ? I went, oh yeah, forgot all about it. I was like, that's what he went, oh yeah, we can put you on a course now. And they were desperate to, because obviously it was good for their course and I obviously wanted to do it. So unbeknownst to me, obviously you do this course that you're not bothered about, copying something of a night time, handing it in, not having a clue what I'm writing, and then you get yourself on the course. So yeah, I was pretty lucky with that really.
What about you, Dave? What did you do anything when you were? What was?
Yeah, so we had. So it was like that. You would get put onto a BTEC in whatever it was, tourism and I don't know, something like that. But you had the choice as well. If you had good enough grades, you can go and do something else. There was me and another lad who went and did A levels.
So the rest of those lads, when they've got released at 18, when they finish their YT, because probably only how many get signed professional normally? Is it 2 out of 5? I don't know what the ratios are, but I can imagine 10% if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Like
out of my 8. I think, yes, me and Gav Caswell had played for the first team, and that was it, really.
So the thing is, it's different now, though, again, because back then, I think it was far more difficult to get a professional contract because there was no 23s. There was a reserve team that would always be made up of the squad players and the youth team. So now they've got like B teams and 23s. What happens now is if there's a lad that they think, well, we could probably stick him on 300 or 400 quid. He's a good number in the building. You know, if there's a few injuries and we need to rest people, we can use them for training in a day. So you actually get quite a lot of lads now. Maybe not at a Shrewsbury, but certainly at Wolves, you'll get quite a lot of lads. It might not be lads coming through youth team, but they will have a lot of lads, young first-year pros that they'll use for numbers in the building. And obviously that goes a bit unsaid and they'll say, oh yeah, they've got a bright future. But truth is, they might have a little bit of something, but there'll be a bit of a long shot.
So that's a good opportunity for them, but also it's putting putting off what they're going to do long term, isn't it? You know, you're going to, of course, you're going to promote that opportunity, but chances are you're putting off what your career is going to be.
Well, the problem for that is, and it is a little bit unspoken, and it's not. I'm not trying to do the clubs a disservice, but the problem that you've got now is that they are taking on quite a big number, and I know they're trying to change it with the B team introduction again now. They're sort of trying to go back to the reserve team way by having a B team, but it's the same problem. You're just changing the name, and what ends up happening is you have a volume of young lads in the building. So back in obviously when we played, Sam, it was you'd have the first team squad, the squad players from there, and then the better players in the youth team, normally your second years, would play as part of a reserve team, wouldn't they? Now there is a reserve team, so it is your under 23s. That's what they play, and that's normally a bunch of lads. Not always, obviously it varies, but the bulk of them will be on a low wage. The likelihood of them breaking through, it will be there. There'll be a small a small chance, but it will be a long shot. And they might think, like a Wolves, for example, might think, well, we might be able to sell him to like a Walsall or someone like that and get a bit of a, comeback for him. But the problem for those lads is, there's a lad that I had at Telford. I won't say his name, I don't want to kill him, but he was a lovely lad. He came along and his dad had asked me if he could come in on a try. And he'd been at Aston Villa for 10 years. He's 20. All right, he was captain for the under-23s. He came in, he'd been released. All his whole life was just about getting up in the morning, going in, having breakfast, in with the pros, in with all of the lads who are playing in the Premier League on Sky every week. He was on 400 quid a week the whole time. One day at 20 years old, gets released.
Yeah.
And he's literally like, he came to me, and the only way
he's got nothing.
There's nothing there. He's literally gone in.
Although clubs now are supposed to have an aftercare thing, don't they? But literally, in terms of his qualifications on a bit of paper, he's got nothing. He's got no experience, no qualifications. Didn't go out on loan because he probably wasn't. To be fair, this lad probably wasn't quite good enough to go to like a Walsall or a League One or a League Two team. He didn't go out on loan, so he's got no first team games. He's 20 years old. They've let him go after 10 years. That's all he's known. The way I can describe it, he came training with us, and it was like he was in mourning. It was like his missus had split up with him after 10 years, or, a family member had passed away. And I remember he tried to sort of sprint out to go and try and close a player down. And he did it with all enthusiasm. And as he went to do it, they bopped it round him. And as he turned, I sort of watched his body language, and he was just deflated. And I remember just having a chat with him and just trying to say to him, like, you're going to have to sort of try and get yourself together. And he was miles off it. We couldn't carry on with him. He was miles away. And I thought, I worried for him, because I thought, I wonder what you're going to do now. Because in the working world, away from football, what is it you're going to do? And if my opinion's only one opinion, but I couldn't see him playing at Telford's level, let alone playing in the league where he was hoping to play. So tough for a lot of them.
You need those players, though. The clubs need those players, because then they carry the better ones. Do you know what I mean? So they need them to basically form a team, so they can. Well, that's like the better ones, the 3 or 4 they've really got their eye on. They need players around them.
That's academies all the way through.
Yeah, definitely.
From the age of 8, 9 and 10, you'll have the ones who you're looking at, won't you? And then you'll have the others to make the number. So that's if you never really make it. So that brings its own problems that you haven't got any, even at 19 and 20. Yeah. I'm thinking about, say, like lads like me who've then have had a career, but you've got to get a job afterwards. Now that can be difficult as well, can't it? Because hopefully you get to what you did, Gavin, what I did, where you get to 27, 28, you suddenly go, oh, hold on a minute. This is like, I'm now like getting contracts annually, and that's it.
Annually.
yeah. It's like,
the way you just said annually.
Yeah.
No, but like every year you sort of like every year you're waiting for the phone to ring. You're thinking it's getting harder and harder here, and and especially when you get over 30. Oh, sorry. Are we all right?
No.
Yeah. Steaming.
Dave's at the post.
when you get over 30 and like your money drops and things, and you suddenly start panicking about what you're going to do. And now that's hard as well, isn't it? Because you've got to have the foresight to think what, but also you've got to have something in the bank. And if all you've got is a GNVQ in leisure and tourism that you've done.
It's not knock it, lads.
Sorry.
I had a risk stake with that.
If you let me finish, I wasn't going to say the advanced. If you've done a GNVQ foundation, you've got nowhere to go. I mean, for you, there was opportunities everywhere.
Choice to
there. No advantage. Whoa, this isn't foundation. I've done the advanced. Come on in then. Come and work for Apple.
Steve Jobs out of the way, mate.
No, but then that brings its own problems, because then you're right at the bottom of the ladder, aren't you? And you're 30 odd, and you've got a family. Suddenly you've got to find a job, haven't you? And if you've been getting paid 1,500 quid a week or something, then suddenly you're not going to get 1,500 quid a week.
There's no 75 grand a year jobs just waiting for you.
And the problem is, as you get older, obviously you start thinking about having a long-term partner, wife, and then kids, and all of those things, house. You want all of them. It goes back to like what I was saying. The big decision for me was when I left Shrewsbury and went to Grays, and that was definitely, very healthy contract for me. Probably the best contract I ever signed. And it was like in terms of duration and finances, but obviously it didn't work out. I was there 8 months and it was an absolute car crash. And it was that moment then when it was like I had a couple of options in League Two again. I had 3 options to go back in. And then I remember speaking to Kev Wilkin at Nuneaton. I was at this moment doing my degree. So I was in the second year of my degree, and it was like, right, what do I do here? Because the money I'm getting offered to play conference football was more than League Two, and I could go part-time and start to build a career, or do I go there in the hope of walking around with a coffee in my hand at 1 o'clock? That was a decision for me then. It was almost like I knew I wasn't going to be playing in the Championship and probably wasn't even going to get into League One. So to go to a League Two club and like you say, you have 12 months and then you're back to square one again. So for me, it was like, right, I could sign 2 years in the conference. I'm sort of halfway through a degree. I could start thinking about another business maybe and start to build for something else. Like 2 years was like a dream for me. Like that was, I know, different at your level, Dave, because obviously that's what they do. They have to tie you down to that. But I think when we played, Sam, it was, if you got more than a year, you were buzzing, weren't you?
Yeah. Well, it went down to biannual.
Well, I've only got advanced GMVQ. This going over my head here, all this lingo.
But also, then people think about being coached, don't they? But like, if you're 32 and you have to become a coach or something, like you're starting right at the bottom, aren't you? Again, you're not getting the money and you got putting in with like the hours and everything, aren't you? So
and everyone looks at coaching jobs, and there's obviously, when you think how many players there is, and there's only 2 coaches at a club usually.
Yeah.
Then
rocking
all
shit.
Do the maths, and it's a lot of work's going to have to go into that coaching career for you to be successful.
I think so, and you need lucky breaks and all of that, don't you? And like, it's everyone's journey is different, isn't it? But like, when was the turning point for you then, Sam? Because mine was like when I came out of Grays, I had a decision: do I want to continue with my professional career, or am I now just? And I think I said it before. It was Stewie Whitehead for me. That was the one. I remember speaking to Stewie Whitehead, and he got to 33 and shit himself and went, "Oh no, like I've left it a bit too late." I mean, obviously he did well for him. He's done well for himself and all of that. When was it for you?
I mean, when I started doing a degree when I was playing for Shrewsbury. Like, not because anything in particular. I had to decide really. I was 27. Obviously, I always had my modelling to fall back on.
So that's why you became a teacher then.
No, but then that's this doing a degree. But I remember at the time, like thinking, but that was only when I was older. Like I was like, you got to start doing something. Like, I remember seeing to Tolly and Mossy and that, like, obviously,
a bit of social media.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, and like,
if social media was more established back then, you'd have had no problems, would you?
Yeah.
Like OnlyFans, all these sorts of things.
All that sort of stuff would have been fine, but it wasn't then, was it? So I was like, I didn't have that backup. Yeah, but then
was that difficult to balance then? Was that difficult to manage for you?
No, because it's a piece of cake. They should all be doing it. All these
definitely
young footballers should be doing something. It's crazy that they're not. I remember you've seen at Telford. Sometimes you got lads who are just playing for Telford. They're training twice a week and they're not doing anything else. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
They don't see it like that, though.
Yeah, they don't. But they need someone just to say, like, what are you thinking there?
I'm in agreement with you, and that would be the advice I'd have, because they'd look at me and say, "Oh, Gaffer, you're doing it. Like, what can I do next? You've been through this. What is it I would do?" And I would say it, and then I'd go to them a month later and go, "Did you call the local clubs?" And they go, "Oh yeah, I haven't got round to it yet." And I'm like, "What are you doing with your days and your afternoons?"
Even if they don't know what they want to do when they're older, do something. Do something. Just to get into that habit of learning.
Do English and Maths GCSEs. Do an electrician course. Do a carpentry course. If you've got some qualifications, do a business degree, which is quite generic, isn't it? Something like that. Do something so when football stops, you've got something. And even I'd say, moving on to like, even the ones who played in the Prem when they got loads of money, you still got to do something, haven't you? You can't retire at 35, even if you're a multi-millionaire, and not have things.
It's relevant though, isn't it? Because the thing is, if you're bringing in $100,000 a week, let's say, which is quite conservative now, isn't it? If you're in that top 10, like $100,000 a week, and then all of a sudden that tap stops. You've still got all of those outgoings. You've still got all of those investments. You've still got all of those business that you've hopefully invested in. That don't stop, does it? All the outgoings from that. And I think I remember hearing a story. This is only second hand, so I don't know how true it is, but they were saying about when they were at QPR, Rio Ferdinand and Carl Henry were having a conversation. I think one of their mutual friends I was speaking to, and he was saying that Carl Henry was doing well at QPR, might have been on like $40,000 a week or something, which is astronomical money. But Rio Ferdinand was saying to Rio Ferdinand, "Oh, flipping it, you'll be all right because you've been on all this money." And he was like, "Oh, mate, don't work like that. you know, when you 150 grand a week, which obviously these are good problems to have. I'm not trying to sort of say like, you know, they've got a tough life or whatever, but these are good problems. But when that tap stops, there's everything that's been coming in. People are still standing there wanting and asking. And
even not even just financially though. Like we've said it loads of times. You need like a purpose as well, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to do? How do you recreate that buzz? And what are you going to do? You need to be thinking, right, what are my other interests? You can't just go and play golf every day. You'll be bored. You've got to have a reason to get up.
Can't play golf every day, mate.
Dave's like, that sounds good.
Yeah, I'd like to give that a go.
My microphone's come
Brilliant.
out.
Oh, we should have done
Thinking
this
about
earlier.
jobs after football.
Sam's microphone's come out.
I've done a little bit of research, haven't I? Some belting like jobs after football. What about though? One of the strangest one. Our old teammate Dave, Kevin Street, is a vicar.
What a guy.
What a guy.
What a guy he was.
I still remember that time where we were in the dressing room. I can't remember what happened, but he tried to get a prayer going. Can you remember that? I think I mentioned that here before. Yeah. He tried to get all the lads saying a little prayer in the dressing room, and I thought, bless him, but it didn't. I think he gets more.
Yeah, great guy though, straight in.
Yeah, but you had to obviously you have to study for it, don't you?
Yeah,
you can't just say I want to be a vicar.
When I was at
Theology.
Shrewsbury with him, that's when he was studying then.
Yeah.
He was proper right in the thick of it then.
And I was quite good there when we were in the conference because we got other lads coming in with different jobs and stuff, didn't they? But I wrote down some things. Obviously, there's the boxers, isn't there? Leon McKenzie and Curtis Woodhouse.
Yeah.
They're doing boxing.
Curtis Woodhouse actually got to a decent level as well. He was
he's
British
good,
champion, wasn't
Proper
he?
Andy, wasn't he? Curtis, wouldn't he? He'd be good to go on
Welterweight
here.
or
Yeah.
light welterweight, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
What a great guest he'd be.
Yeah, it'd be quality. My
On
favourite
Twitter,
thing
he sent
about
him a
him.
message on Twitter.
Yeah, he'll answer because he normally goes for he has some trolls.
Calls
doesn't he?
people out, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't
I've
it?
seen that.
Have you seen him?
That where
flipping
someone was
it.
slagging him off or something, wasn't it?
He turned up at the door.
Yeah, he was like, I'm
And you wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley, would you?
That's panicking, isn't he?
Yeah.
He'd been abusing him or something,
Yeah,
hadn't he? And
yeah.
he got his address and he's like took a picture of him outside like on the lad's street. The lad's panicking.
Sorry, Curtis.
Sorry, Curtis. I was trying to have a little bit of banter with you.
Just showing off.
Good for calling people out like that.
Yeah.
Listen to this one. Remember Adrian Dazoo for Wigan?
Yeah.
Centre off.
Yeah, I saw this on it.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
He's a detective.
Yeah.
Oh, how cool is that? Like full on Poirot.
Yeah, I am, but I can't tell anyone. Yeah, it's Poirot.
I looked at Daniel Agger. He's a tattoo artist.
He was
there's
covered,
a
he was
shock.
covered in them, wasn't
Flipping
he?
it on his eyeballs.
Poker professionals. Thomas Brolin and Thomas Gravison.
Gravison,
So Gravison
yeah.
made an absolute... He
made
actually
more.
He actually moved to Vegas, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he?
He's made more from poker than he did football.
I might do that then.
Yeah.
Why aren't we doing that?
Because of the modelling, we're still doing that. aren't we?
Don't want to spread myself too.
No.
Yeah, he moved to Vegas. I think he lived there for quite a while. He made millions and millions off it, didn't he?
There was a thing recently saying that he's earned more from
He
poker.
lived next door to like Nicolas Cage
That's
or
it,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember Ken Moncow?
Yeah.
Pancake chef. That's cool, though, isn't it?
Well, it's proper cool,
Like, I think things like that, though, it's good to show people doing something with
Yeah.
themselves, aren't it? Because, you've got to find something.
Got to have a mountain to climb, haven't you? And like you say, if he might...
Or
he
pancake
got his
to
own- Oh, my days.
Remember Jose Pinto played for Barcelona,
Yeah.
Zumba teacher. Am I going to do any research?
Well, we were going to start a Zumba class, weren't we? If the podcast didn't work, we were going to do a Zumba class, weren't we?
I hope you proof check some of these.
Yeah, I'm going to get sued, yeah.
I just want to know what he's typed in to get that.
Pinto Zumba teacher.
Yeah.
Grant Hall, obviously, Grant Hall. Like, he didn't get paid for wrestling. did he?
No, well, he might have done for
Yeah,
the odd
it's all
show.
entertainment stuff. I think he
Yeah.
just did it for a bit of banter. I don't know, to be fair. He might. I don't want to say that because he might be
Do you
proper
think people
serious
get
about
paid
it.
for, obviously, I know.
Yeah, he had a bit of a go at it for a little bit, didn't he, Holty? But I don't think he's not doing it anymore, is he? But
Is that just one? Not like for
He's not
money,
Ultimate Warrior
not
level,
for
is he?
business.
He's
Is
like-
that just to give it a purpose for something to do? Like Carl Akimi, doesn't he? Does his
jiu-jitsu?
what's it?
Jiu-jitsu,
Jiu-jitsu.
yeah.
Obviously, he didn't get paid for doing that.
Not yet.
Carl? No, he's good though.
And he won a competition
Yeah, he
recently,
won a
didn't
comp
he?
recently.
Is there much money in jiu-jitsu? He's not doing it for money, though, is he?
No,
Like,
there's-
like,
no,
it's
there's-
like some of these lads are probably doing stuff to earn money, to earn a living. Like obviously, maybe becoming a teacher.
A lot of
Some
lads
are doing it for.
a lot of lads they do jiu-jitsu as like what
training,
they specify, and then they go into MMA, which seems to be where all the money's starting to go. Don't know whether it's in this country, but obviously that's what they try and move into, don't they?
Yeah.
Stuart Ripley, solicitor.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
that's an
I
interesting.
could see him doing that.
Was
He could
was
cross a ball,
clever?
couldn't he?
Yeah, he could. Yeah.
Wrap that
Premier League winner.
Premier League winner, yeah.
Wilcox on the other wing.
1992.
Him and Wilcox.
Shearer and Sutton up front.
They were literally...
Sherwood in midfield.
Shearer must buy them a
team,
pint
that
every
one,
now and again, mustn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deliveries they used to just put in for him.
All the time, just out the feet, whip it in.
Yeah. Don't ever remember going past anyone. Just out your feet, wrap it in there.
Jeff Whitley played at Telford, were you?
No.
Oh.
The Man City player.
Yeah, I thought he was at Telford, the one he for a bit.
Not with me, no.
No, Jeff used to come to Wolves quite a bit 'cause he used to work with Tony Adams at Sporting Chance Clinic.
Yeah, because
Jeff struggled when he was younger, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he used to come in. But I think you know what you're going to say with his job profession because he used to come in with the guy he used to do it with as well.
He's a car dealer.
Yeah, he's second-hand car dealer.
Second-hand car dealer. Brilliant. He's from Manchester
Yeah,
as well.
Was the other geezer really tall and skinny?
I've got some belters here as well. And there's teachers like Barry Horn. Remember Barry Horn?
Yeah, yeah.
He's a
Yeah,
physics
Welsh
teacher.
legend.
Wow.
Physics teacher, apparently. You need to check that, Dave, because I don't like
Wasn't he at Wrexham for a period when he was like the director of football there, wasn't he? I think he was working with the FAW. Yeah, I don't know. I have to fact check that as well.
Ben Burgess. I think he follows the podcast on Twitter. Remember Ben Burgess, big centre forward. Like
Yeah, played against
he's a
him.
primary
Yeah.
school teacher.
Oh, is he?
Des Little as well.
Yeah,
Is it
he's
Thomas Telford.
Thomas Telford, yeah. Coach there. He's been there years now, hasn't he?
Listen to these.
Great gig.
Listen to these, my last two. Remember Philippe Albert?
Yeah.
Like ledge. Remember he scored that chip, didn't he?
chip for Leeds United.
Great Muzzy.
Like 5-0, yeah. He's got a fruit and veg business.
Greengrocer.
Greengrocer. How class is that, though?
Me and you must be looking at the same stuff. We're prepping for it.
What are you typing in when you're looking for porn
How
YouTube?
good's that? How good's that, though? Yeah, again, like, what, you know what I mean? You need something, don't you? Like that.
I'm just picturing him now, open all hours,
Actually-
like proper that sort of...
I seen a quote of him though saying he wanted to get out of the limelight and back to reality as quickly as possible from when he finished football.
There's no
So
better
that's what
way,
he
is
did,
there?
yeah. Greengrocer.
Couple of crates of apples and that.
Can you remember John Chidozie, Tottenham winger? Rapid, I remember him.
John Genosi?
John Chidozie.
No, I don't remember.
He's like rapid little winger from back in the day. He's got Bouncy Castle Company. How class is that? Bouncy Castle. Hey, that's not a bad job, that, you know. Just
a
go
right
around and
laugh.
set them up and that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so...
Any lads that you've played with other than Street?
Well, I've got a few others here who maybe not quite as obscure, but like some standout ones. So our mate Jody Craddock.
Yeah.
Artist.
He's coming on, definitely.
Yeah.
He's already said he's coming on, Jody.
So Jody he's an artist now, and when I was at Wolves, he was doing it. I remember when we won the
He's so
championship, he drew a
talented.
picture of us win the championship and like sold
Give
us.
him a
Didn't
shout
give us
out here,
freebies, but sold us the
get in.
canvases.
Get on Facebook, Jody Craddock. He's got his own website as well. If he wants any artwork doing, he's brilliant.
Unbelievable,
There's a little
honestly.
Shout out for Jody there.
Yeah, it's
and just
incredible.
What was saying just for that shout out? Like 5% of
10%.
10%.
It's free. We've got to split between
10%
three
of
of us,
anything he sells in the last 6 months. Is that a deal, Jody?
He's talented, by the way. I mean, it's like...
He's a better artist than footballer.
If he can edit as well as he can hold a paintbrush, mate.
He was captain for Wolves, wasn't he?
Yeah, what a guy.
You said to me, Dave, didn't you? Like, he's
He
so
was
dominant.
one of the biggest influences in my career, genuinely, because we had a real young squad at Wolves and Jode was the experienced one, captain, and just how to handle yourself as a footballer, professionalism. Yeah, absolutely everything. Getting the most out of yourself. Do you know what I mean? He'll be the first to admit he wasn't the most talented, but absolute lion in the hard defence.
You were saying he's not massive, but he's unbelievable.
Yeah, aggressive, unbelievable in the air. But every single morning in the gym for an hour before training, straight in afterwards, unbelievable shape to him, like ripped, even at whatever age it was.
He looks a bit like Gav, doesn't he?
He's like my ugly older brother, isn't he?
Like, if you had Geordie, Gav, and Mark Wright in the same group, you wouldn't have a clue in the room.
Mark Wright will be buzzing. Let's tag him into
But
that.
Geordie Craddock's a definite
Jody
coming on.
Craddock,
He said he'll
yeah.
come on, won't he? We'll get him on.
Vinnie Jones, obviously.
Yeah.
Going into acting.
I'm disappointed with my research.
Yeah. You're talking about wingers from Tottenham. I've never
I'm
heard
talking
of.
about John Chidozie's Bouncy Castle thing. He's on about Vinnie Jones.
And have you heard about, do you remember Flamini as well from Arsenal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he went on to, like, he is
this one's a
multi-millionaire now
Yeah.
because he was in a sustainability company, wasn't he, trying to find a biofuel which was more sustainable. I don't know if he sold out of the business, but made an absolute fortune. He's doing it now. If you go on like his social media pages and that, he's massive for climate change, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, he's proper like raking it in, isn't he? He's very successful.
And he said, I was reading, doing my research today. He said he grew up on the coast, and it's all because there was just loads and loads of plastic bottles on the beach, and he used to hate it. So he kind of got into it through that. But he's made an absolute fortune off it.
Him and
So he's doing
Gravison.
something really good. He's saving the world and he's making loads of money.
I don't know. He's really handsome.
And
as
he's
beautiful
really
man
good
as well.
looking, yeah. Oh, he's-
Sounds like a right prick.
He's been living in London and Milan as well.
Oh, it's horrible. Got all
like
that
it.
olive
I don't
skin.
like
He's
it.
like gorgeous,
Yeah,
isn't he, as well? Not bad.
Yeah, behind closed doors, he won't.
A few boys who tried to play golf as well, wasn't there? Julian Dix, Jimmy Bullard gave it a go, didn't
Yeah,
they?
Jimmy Bullard was talking about that one. I
Yeah.
saw something there.
Julian
He
Dix.
said though about this, like he said he could have a go, couldn't he? Like on the tour, like there's different tours, isn't there?
Yeah, so he was on the Euro Pro, which is like
Yeah.
a couple of levels below what the normal tour would be, the European tour, and then
Who's this
obviously you
now?
go to like, Jimmy Bullard.
Oh, right.
And he said for him to have like the best round of his life, he would finish like middle to bottom of the Euro Pro tour, which is 2 tours below whatever the elite
Wow.
is. So far off it. Do you know what I mean? Saying there's just levels.
But still
and levels
so
and
good,
levels.
though.
Yeah.
Julian Dix a funny one. He when I was at Canvey, he signed for Canvey. Is it like because he's like close Essex, like But he's right at the end of his career. He was done. His knees were shot. And I always remember we're playing in a game, and I was left side centre half, and he was left back. And the ball's got.
Julian Dix was?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
it's
good.
like he signed for us, flipping. Just,
What was he like?
oh yeah, really quiet, like smoking, drinking, like crazy, but doing it round the back of the like stand and stuff like that. It's like I'm trying to get on a coach, trying to go like, where's Dicko? And
He's obviously do what you
yeah,
want
he's
to
round
see,
the
like,
back, just
like
like
a
yeah,
roll,
it was, probably rollies as well. They're not even like proper cigarettes. And he, but I always remember it's the funniest ever. Ball got spun down the side, so obviously like it's gone down the side of him, and he's like 100 years old at this point, no cartilage in his knees whatsoever. And as it's spun down, I thought, right, I'll get after it with him. So I've gone, and I just saw in the corner of my eye, my peripheral vision, I just saw
some smoke.
yeah, I just saw him collapse, literally. No arms.
Julian?
Arms,
Julian?
arms weren't in front of his face. Didn't even go out. He literally, arms by his side, flat on his face, hit the ground. So obviously, whatever's happened, I think I pulled off a worldie tackle, something like that. But something it basically
bit
gone
was
down. But
definitely
so the physio comes running on, and I've gone over to him like this, and he's still face down in the mud and the grass. And I've just gone over to him, gone, Dicko, you all right, mate? And he just sort of tilted his head and looked up at me and gave me a wink and went, yeah, that'll do me for today. I was like, it's only about 50 minutes gone. He went off, and that was him. He was sat in a stand smoking. I thought, fucking hell.
His knees were shot though, because I think
Yeah.
that's why he kind of had to give up golf as well. His knees that bad, and
Yeah.
then he opened a pub,
you go.
like what a lot of old.
That's what
Yeah,
most
yeah.
stand back
In
footballers
Chelmsford, his pub. I think his pub was in Chelmsford.
You
Yeah,
need
he
to
lived around there.
look up on YouTube, type in like Julian Dix tackle on David Rush. Like David Rush is this little Sunderland lad who I was with. He's a couple of years older than me. There's a tackle he did on the touchline at Roker Park, Julian Dix, which is outrageous. Like he's literally jumped up, just 2 foot him in the chest.
Wasn't one to hold back, was he?
Yeah, I have to try and find that and share it. It's ridiculous.
I still love his penalties.
Oh,
Yeah,
Aggressive. Literally just to run up, didn't he? And just smash it as hard as he could. Yeah, he was quite a quiet character, but he was he was funny.
Any more, Dave? Any more or not?
No.
Gavin,
Lads you
any-
played with?
Well, yeah, I suppose a lot of them trying to get into coaching. I was thinking a lot of the lads I played with.
I think there's more and more lads now trying to get into business. I think, especially.
Especially if they've made a bit of money.
Yeah, made a bit of
money.
money.
They're trying
Yeah.
to get into business.
I
aren't
think they're
they?
forward thinking while they're still playing.
And their money's looked after better now, so they're coming
Yeah.
out of football. Obviously, they're getting paid more, but it's also they're looking after it better now.
it's starting
aren't
to
they?
become better people around them, isn't there?
Yeah.
It brings us to you a little bit, Dave, doesn't it? We've sort of gone through sort of the levels. It brings us to you a little bit because obviously you've had that lower league career to start with, had your apprenticeship, lower league career. Then you've obviously gone into
Made a few quid at
Luton and
Wolves.
then really kicked on, obviously, into unbelievable Premier League player, winning championships, international, like worldie, all of those things, brilliant.
In the Euros.
But obviously, yeah, it comes. Have we not said that before? Dave played in the Euros, by the way. But it comes to a point for you, obviously, and you're there now. And I know, like I know quite a lot of obviously your journey and all of that. But when did it sort of get to you, and you were thinking, right, I'm at a good career. I've had a great career. There's still a little bit left in me, but at some point, or even though I've done really, really well, I'm going to have to find something sustainable, and I'm going to have to have a mountain to climb for myself.
I think because I started off at Shrewsbury, did my A levels and things like I was
Did
always.
you do E-levels when you were at Shrewsbury?
Yeah, so I did my A levels at
Fair
Shrewsbury.
play,
I did A levels in psychology and PE, and then I did an AS level in business as well. So I was in that mode of sort of learning. Then I had a couple of years out of it, and then I sort of got back into it again, Open University, and did not a business degree, but kind of one of those courses where it shows you how to start a business and all those sorts of things. I was always fascinated.
How old were you when you were doing that?
24 maybe.
Good that is, isn't it? Good foresight that. I mean,
I had some bad injuries around 23, 24.
What did you do about night clubbing in that day?
Used to fit it in around.
Of course, yeah.
Is that because you were having that time where you were
Injuries, yeah.
struggling a bit and you were starting to like not panic but thinking, what else am I going to do with football?
Well, it was two things. So I was at Wolves. I was earning some decent sort of money. My missus was pregnant, and I thought, right, I just want to make sure I've got something away from football. I was going through some bad injuries, so I was kind of thinking, is football going to be there forever? And the first thing I did is I asked my agent when I first started doing a bit of money, I need to start doing something with my money. What do you advise? He sent like a financial advisor around, put me in 2 tax schemes. Both went kaput. And I thought, I can't be leaving that to someone else to do. So that's when I started to learn about property. Like, read loads and loads of books about property. Started learning about business. So that was the first one. And then I just didn't want all that free time. I felt guilty because I went for a stage of playing a lot of PlayStation, and I felt real guilty afterwards. What am I doing? So just out of impulse, I was like, sign myself onto something, and then once I'm signed on, I've got to do it then. And that kind of got me out of it. And then from there, I just had an interest in doing stuff. I really want to start a business and see what it'd be like, and done that a few times. So
amazing.
Fair play, mate. Quite intelligent as a young lad as well. Then you hide it well.
But I think I was quite lucky that I started young and I was earning sort of decent enough money that it wasn't the be all and end all. So I could almost fail a few times. It wasn't like this has to work. I haven't got time to go and do a degree or start a business and for it not to work because I need that money right now. I could go and sort of have a go at it, see what I was like, see if I enjoyed it.
It's like Roy Keane was saying, wasn't he, about criticising people for doing other things, but I think it's so important for them to do other things apart from football.
I
understand what he's trying to say.
He's talking about if you want to be at the top elite level, isn't he? Like, you can't be thinking about anything else. But again,
did you agree with that?
You look at him and you think it's been a natural progression, hasn't it, from what he's done? But like, I think I get what he's trying to say. I would find that difficult. But again, I played at flipping, like you say, it's not even the same sport as what he played. So I always had to think of something else.
I think of it, as long as it doesn't affect your performance. If you look at the younger lads now at the very, very top and the money they're earning, I would say keep the main thing, and you make sure you're in the best shape possible when you get onto that football pitch.
Yeah.
And then get other people who you really trust to kind of be around you and look after it. As you get a bit older, I think you can start doing other bits. But when you're younger in particular, really concentrate on it.
Yeah. I think what Roy Keane, if he was sat at this table here, I think he's adhering more to things like social media and going out and girlfriends and all that. I think if you were saying that, well, Roy, I'm at home reading a book on business or how to become a teacher or whatever it may be, I think he'd go, brilliant. Great, that's got to be your downtime. That's got to be your rest and recovery.
I think it depends how public you do it as well, because I think he's been talking about Rashford in this case, and if you open yourself up publicly to the amount of stuff you're doing, and then your performance on the pitch start to struggle, that's when you're there for criticism, isn't it?
Tricky one, because Rashford's done a lot of good, hasn't he?
Amazing.
And you think, but his performances have dipped. So what? In the big grand scheme of things, he's probably done more good, hasn't he, sorting out free.
There's been a lot of exposure because obviously at the time he was like probably Man United's most sought after player, and he was in the England squad quite regularly. What's been the impact from it though? I'm not trying to be divisive or anything like that. I'm just like, what's been the impact from what he done? That's what I'd like to see, because obviously the subject in what he was trying to drive and what he was trying to bring attention to was unbelievable, like fantastic. I was a dinner ticket kid myself. You know what I mean? So
you could argue though, if his football suffers, then because of that, so be it. He's doing for the greater good, isn't he?
Yeah, well, absolutely.
What would you rather be remembered for?
But what is the impact? Has there been an impact from it? Has there been a positive impact?
There wasn't an initial one, wasn't there? Because they reversed all the things around it, didn't they?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm not aware.
Yeah.
Just interesting. What about though? Like, think about obviously being a footballer. Then you go into other jobs. How does being a footballer help you in your second careers?
Gets your foot in the door. I think everybody wants to employ a footballer to some degree, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, that's
just for stories.
I used to write on my CV after 15 years, my first line after 15 years as a professional footballer, because I knew that the head teachers would have a million different applicants, saying, I'm following on from my teaching degree at university, whatever. Suddenly everyone's going to go, flipping it. Well, we'll have a look at him just for an interview, just to be nosy, really, and find out the story. Yeah. Once you're foot in the door.
With everything, it's foot in the door, but then you've got to be there on man.
Yeah, then obviously you've got to do the business, haven't you? But it just gives you a little head start, I think. It gives you, people are interested, aren't they? Because a lot of people love football.
But I spoke to a few recruitment guys on this before, and they say they love hiring ex-sports persons because of their mentality.
I would agree with that massively.
That was going to be my big thing. Yeah. I think as well, like to stay with mentality, it's like levels, isn't it? Because if you're a player, even if you're the biggest character in the changing room, the manager or the chairman walks in, you've got to change the level in which you communicate. So in with the lads, you're like, fuck, here he is. He's had his hair cut. He's on a night out. Here we go then. And then the chairman comes in. You're like, hi, Mr. Chairman, how are you? And then you're speaking to a supporter and, you know, he's got his son there and you have to conduct yourself in a certain way with him.
Communicate with different people. Like social capital.
And as well, when you're getting called a ginger, like because you're laying on the ground because you've been headbutted in the side of the head and there's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people screaming at you when you're being led over to the sideline, you can't sort of hide, can you? You've got to just be able to deal with it. So anything that comes after football, you sort of go, it's all right. Really.
Dealing with pressure, being calm under pressure.
Yeah, dealing with pressure, I'd say. And again, we mention it all the time, that resilience, you know, because you've been told as well, like you get feedback in football, don't you? You get feedback. You get instant, brutal feedback.
You again.
You get it from your fans, whether it be 30.
Because imagine just GP just looking at you every fucking week.
Why is it you again?
Oh, can I have a bit of feedback? Oh, no, Gaffer, you're going to give me the feedback anyway. You're going to give me it anyway.
You know, one of my favourite stories about GP is when, I might have said this before, I can't remember, I just love it, is when my home debut against Scunthorpe, and like, you know, you're a bit nervous and that going into the game, you think, just do the first thing right. And ball's in the air, no one about 20 square metres around me, so I cushioned it on my toe, give it to Trevor Chalice, got a little bit of a ripple from the crowd, I thought, flipping out, this is easy.
I've arrived.
Yeah, got man of the match, in the players' lounge after, all family, absolutely having myself massively brilliant. I've arrived now, no problem.
GP little week. Welcome, GP.
Where they're going to put the statue? Got to training on Monday, and Gary Peters has gone. Gavin wouldn't ever call me Gav. Gavin, after training, see you up the ground. So we're at Sundawn. I was like, yeah, no problem. So got there.
Deal.
All the lads are like. I was like, yeah, it can't be less than 5 years, lads. Can't be less than 5 years. It's been a walk in the park. Like,
obviously been a bit of interest, hasn't it?
Yeah, obviously. But obviously get down there and he's got one of the box TVs with a DVD player in it, and he's gone. He showed me that moment in the game. Cushioned it down on my foot, give it to Trevor Chalice. He's gone. Talk to me about that.
Good on, Gaffer.
I've gone. Well, you tell me, like player.
And you put me in centre mid on Saturday.
And he literally just went to me. Okay, don't you ever fucking do that again. And I went. What, just me and him in the room, like proper in my face, don't you ever fucking do that again. And I was like, you've lost me, sorry. He went, next time that happens with the balls in the air, you take a step back, use your neck muscles and you head it as far as you can. I went, Gaffer, are the fans not going to give me a bit of shit? Like, if obviously there's no one around me. Literally, I caught it quite well, which is unlike me, but even if it had come off my shin, I'd have been able to recover and give it to Trev Chalice. And he was like, you never do that again. And I walked out of there going, and me being me, I was going, you've lost me. I don't understand. I should have just swallowed it, obviously, and just gone, yeah, Gaffer, no, Gaffer, 3 bags full. But I was like going, what have I fucking done wrong now? I didn't expect to come in here and get this. And yeah, like you say, but afterwards you have to come out, don't you, and deal with it. And I didn't really deal with criticism from GP that well because of his delivery. But now, later in life, I understand that should have really dealt with that better. Should have sort of nodded my head, yes, Gaffer, you're the boss. Try to conform if I want to be there and want to achieve. But they're the things you learn, aren't they?
Yeah.
So there's loads of things. It helps you personally deal with stuff, helps you be more resilient, helps you deal with situations, helps you deal with pressure, definitely. Yeah. I remember when I was teaching, I remember doing my first year, and like the person was going, oh, you know, you're very brave coming in with Ofsted coming in and all that. And I was thinking, well, I think I'd Peter Reid threatened to smash my face in for 5 years. I'll be all right. I think I'll be fine. But also, how does it not help you?
I think the intelligence thing. I think people think that you're not switched on and like you're coming into another career later on. So I think you might get a little bit. Yeah, and I think other staff members might look at you and think, oh, you've got the golden ticket to be here. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We've put in X amount of years in this industry for 10, 15 years. You just walk in.
Do you ever have imposter syndrome then, off the back of that? Obviously knowing what they're thinking.
I've had it before. Especially if I'm in business meetings and things like that.
I think you all do sometimes where, like, especially when you start like teaching and you stood there at the front and you're having a terrible lesson or something, you think, how have I ended up here at the front of a class with 30 30 kids and I'm teaching them like about the Stone Age.
Does that happen then? Does it? A bit like so you can have a bad lesson. Like you can have a bad. You say I've been in the front of a bad lesson. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, but you see, like you've taught a bad lesson, but you don't get feedback like you used to get when you had a bad game. Like, if I don't do a very good assembly, like so I used to, a bad lesson, my company go, "Hi Sam, then there's loads of good positives with that lesson. I thought you could have done a little bit." I was just like, just tell me. You know, when I was first starting, just tell me if that was terrible. Yeah. And they go, "Oh no, it certainly wasn't terrible, Sam. I don't want you to take it." I'm like, just tell me.
But again, now
right,
I think
fine.
But all three of us now are at a stage in life, I think, where if there is anything to criticise, I think all three of us want to hear it. Like I know, like we speak about stuff and how we can be better and try and push each other on.
It's like when we tell you to stop talking so much on the podcast.
Flipping glass houses. I tell you what, you've got no stones in your pocket. But it's
you welcome it, don't you? You definitely welcome it because you want to get better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like whereas when I was younger, I was like, "Is that my fault? Was that me? It wasn't me. I know I slipped over, but it wasn't my fault. I know I missed a header, but it wasn't my fault, was it?" And whereas now, I'm like, "Yeah, whatever I've done wrong, let me know because I just want to be better." And I just take it as a chance to get stronger.
The problem is that when you're in charge of people, you've got to be a bit different. It's that Roy Keane thing as well, as that Roy Keane wanted it. Like Roy Keane was brutal, but when you become a manager, you can't just treat everybody the same. You can't just go, "He should take it," because people don't just take it in the same way. Whether you think Roy Keane,
that's different industries as well, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, but like as now you've got a coaching business with people working for you, and you do appraisals and things. And I, like a head teacher, I have teachers who you have to give feedback to on lessons and appraisals.
The way you tell each teacher is very different.
Like ridiculously different, because there's so many different personalities. I can't say, "You better teach a better science lesson next time, I'm going to rip your head off." Yeah. you can't.
Sam learnt that after the first couple of times of doing it.
I haven't brought you here to do that.
The first time I said that,
governors are pulling Sam in, going, "You can't speak to."
The first time I did that to the 50-year-old reception teacher, she wasn't impressed.
Yeah, not going to go down well. Yeah. But you were saying there, Dave, as well about am I right? You were saying about
paranoia.
Imposter syndrome. Here we go.
I take criticism well,
but you were saying
percentages on who spoke the most wits on the
Sam wins that. So you were saying that when you got injured, and I know we've spoken previously about how that is like. At the time, you're asking yourself questions, aren't you? Is this going to be the career for me? Am I going to be here? But actually, what it enabled you to do was to get stronger by looking at online courses, by looking about what the afterlife could be. So that at the time, you probably wouldn't have noticed it, but that would have helped you.
Yeah, definitely. And I would urge any footballer now, especially with an injury, you need to take your mind away from football because you just get down, you get in a dark place. And by doing something else, and again, those little milestones of doing, say, a course or something like that, that brings a bit more positivity back and you're making the best out of a bad situation. I think that's always important in everything in life, but especially for lads who are injured in football.
And if football isn't going well, like, you know, you're injured or you're having a bad time, if you've got a little distraction of you doing the course or something, even it's a healthy distraction, you get a little bit of, you know, if you've written a good essay or something, you get a little bit of positive feedback can lift you a little bit, because if you are so dedicated to football, you're pinning your happiness on football. Well, football's brutal, isn't it? It goes wrong, you have bad games, you get injured. If your happiness is based on that, like, you're in trouble, aren't you?
And that definitely happened to me. I spoke about it on that injuries podcast that my life was football. Everything revolved around football. When I woke up in the morning, I was thinking about training. When I was obviously training at football, it was all football. As soon as I got home, I was thinking about football, thinking about the game, which has just been, thinking about the game that's coming. And when an injury comes and you're still thinking about football constantly, I was the one injury, I was out for 9 months. And after every single game that I would go and watch, I'd be thinking, "Oh, he's had a good game today," or "How am I going to get back in here?" And I'm still 6 months away from being fit. So what is the point of me worrying about all this? But football was just my life. And
totally consumed you.
Luckily, I kind of found some other things, and that distracted me. And it was the best thing which ever happened to me.
Love that. Good. Really? Very poignant. Right, anything else, anybody? Does anybody know anything about any big events coming up? I'm looking to buy some Christmas presents for some of my friends. Is anything happening in the new year that I could maybe buy it?
There's nothing happening, but I think we should take a bit of responsibility and maybe do something, create something just to give
bring a bit of joy to 2023.
What could we do?
I like
February the 24th.
Yes.
Is it something we could put together?
Doing that for February the 24th. What's happening, Gav?
Yeah, so February the 24th, we've booked out the Theatre 7. We're currently putting together some ideas on doing a bit of a live show, so we're hoping that people will be interested in attending.
My idea was something like a Westlife thing with us three on stools and like suits and that singing what's it? Flying without wings. Flying without wings. Flying without, I don't know. I mean, we're open to it.
Gav was thinking more of a Dream Boys thing, weren't you?
I'm up for that Magic Mike.
Oil and jockstrap and
something like that. I mean, there's a few things, isn't it?
Sam has voted for that as well, so that is the leader at the moment.
I'm pretty much up for anything, to be honest. I'm just pleased we've got the theatre.
Dave's not agreed to anything me and Sam have suggested so far.
Yeah. It's going to be a lean Christmas if we're doing Dream Boys. I'm eating nothing.
February the 24th, you've got to keep that date in your diary free. Is it Friday, isn't it?
Yes, Friday, February the 24th.
Evening.
Saturday, isn't it?
Is it? It's
oh shit! Oh no!
Oh no! Oh,
it's a Saturday. Let me get my phone out. Double booked here. I'm sure it's a Saturday. I'm sure it's a Saturday. Bear with me. Bear with me. Just Phil.
We're having some ideas anyway. We want to get a little bit of feedback from.
Well, we're going to do a show at the Theatre 7. We did the live event last time, and we were a bit nervous, but it was class.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
No, it is a Friday. It is a Friday.
It is a Friday.
I thought we were doing it on a Saturday. Never mind.
I'm going to have to get out of school early a little bit.
a lot early.
Times, yeah.
It'll be about 7:30, won't it? We're currently putting together all the logistics at the moment, aren't we?
Theatre 7. We'll do a live event. We'll get some guests down. We'll have a bit of a show.
Bit of an after party.
An after party. It's going to be massive. Yeah. It's going to be like what we did last time, but a million. On
steroids.
Like what we did last time, but on steroids, a million times better.
Fireworks.
Blow the roof off.
Fireworks.
We're going to go crazy. Then we're going to wreck the Theatre 7 afterwards. Great, mate.
Don't say that. They might pull the plug on the day. It's going to be a massive event, isn't it? We're hoping that everybody invests in it, buys some tickets for Christmas, bring friends and family, come and have a great time with us discussions. We've got some guests coming, and all details will be coming out hopefully this week.
But there's your perfect Christmas present.
We've been down there, haven't we, and had a little look at the auditorium.
Yeah, how good's it?
Very good. Exciting.
I only go to the pantomime and that done. I've been a few times, but when you're like on the stage and stuff, it's class.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Got a bit giddy. I enjoyed it.
I'm going to say to Holly, just get me something cool to wear on the night. I don't know whether to go purple silk suit or
we're all going
the same.
We're all going the same, surely. Silk.
Are we going the same?
Oh yeah, silk, purple. It's done.
I want wits in silk as well.
Emma, Holly and Holly, if you're listening, Christmas presents.
And obviously cowboy hat, obviously.
Yes.
I didn't even need to mention that.
We are still on air here, by the way.
I know.
24th of Feb, Theatre 7. Friday, 24th of Feb, Theatre 7, in the Stiff, plus guests. All details going out end of next week.
But
get yourself
put it in your diary now.
Yeah, after party. A couple of VIP tickets will be going out as well.
We're not giving away loads of freebies, are we?
I've
said to Holly.
Got to pay for Dave's Tesla.
Got to pay. So no freebies.
I've got 4 kids as well. Two of them are adults now.
No freebies.
They don't pay board.
Can't wait. I'm excited for it. Excited, Dave? You're coming, Dave. Dave's not up there. Come.
I thought it was a Saturday, so I'm struggling. I might have to relook at it.
It's the Michael Bridges podcast all over again.
Dave's just been beaten 5-0 off TNS anyway.
Yeah,
they finished him. TNS have finished him. He'll be available for that.
He'll still be stiff from that game.
We've got February the 24th to loosen Dave.
Trying to help him up onto the stage. You all right, Dave? Yeah, it's that game from 4 months ago.
Right. I can't wait. I'm excited then.
Me too.
Oh, let's have a beer and let's get excited about it and talk about it now then.
Yeah, I won't talk so much though.
Thanks, Budgeons.
Thanks, Budgeon Motors. Budgeon Motors will be sponsoring the event, won't they?
They'll be the main sponsors for the event. I think they're putting on a couple of limos for us.
Yeah.
Something like that, are they? No, I'm flying in. Flying in, landing.
They said they're going to get all the travel sorted for all the guests as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they'll sort it out.
I'm sure they did.
Don't mention that to James the MD though.
The Budgeon do helicopters?
Yeah, we're flying in. Yeah. But Budgeon Motors, obviously Shrewsbury and Telford, Stafford Park, and Feather Bay Blade.
Budgeon Motors. Go down there. It's ridiculous if the people haven't been. Have anybody mentioned in the Stiffs when they've been down there yet?
I think loads. Yeah.
Can we get some feedback?
After you said that 90%, a lot of people.
did.
He's left me about 70 missed calls. I haven't gone back to him yet.
So it's not 90%. Anybody listening? Can we go back on that?
But they've been good to all three of us, haven't they? We've been really lucky, and for the podcast as well. Yeah, we're so lucky.
But keep an eye out for our social media for the live events and more details. So at In the Stiffs on Instagram, Twitter, and the email address is
LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn.
inthestiffs@gmail.com. Yeah, we're on LinkedIn as well. Whitsalt's all that out. I'm saying it. I can't know. Yeah, YouTube. Oh yeah, we need subscribers on YouTube.
We don't pay anything on there, but
yeah.
How many have we got on YouTube? 800. Wait, why would
It's only
he
gone
got
up by 20 because you don't post
Put a
anything.
plea out last time.
What are we going to do if we get to 1,000 in a week? If we get another 150 people, we've got to do.
I'm definitely going to subscribe tonight. So that's I'm definitely doing it tonight.
Sam's been saying that for 6 months.
No, I'm definitely
do it now while I'm on
doing
the
it. Doing it now. Doing it now.
Right, great night. Love that talk.
See you later. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Cheers,
Thank
guys.
you.
Next
Bye-bye.
one. What's the next one? Quickly. Are we saying what the next one is?
Brian Little.
gaffer.
Oh,
that's a good one.
wait, just Brian. You need to listen to that
How are
one.
we going to
Brian
sign
Little.
off without saying
Aston,
about? Yes, Dave. Subscribe.
Is Dave not even
851.
subscribed? Is Dave bothering or what?
Fucking, what is
Is
going
he
on
bothering
here?
within the stiff?
We're digging punters out because we've only got 850 and Dave hasn't even done it.
As
yet.
soon as Joe Hart retires, Joe's in. Dave's
Yeah,
out.
There's actually some good stuff on here.
Mate, we do well. Don't worry
Brian
about that.
Little, Aston Villa legend. What a footballer. What a manager.
Recorded
What
at
a guy.
Budging, didn't we? We recorded it at Budging at Featherbed Lane in Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just looking at on the YouTube thing and it says Sam Aiston and Gav Cowan launch OnlyFans sites.
Can we get that?
Yeah.
Can we get that?
I've got loads. I have. I've got loads of
Can we get that
subscribers.
taken down, please? Head teacher.
But the gaffer's in next week.
Brian Little. Oh, got
Unbelievable
to listen to
stories.
that.
If you want to know anything about
Tell us
Johan Cruyff and
Yeah. Dwight
Franz
York,
Beckenbauer,
Mark Bosnich. He's managed a few, hasn't he?
flipping out. That was next level stuff. He's unreal.
Any football fan
I
will
think
love
the thing
that.
my takeaway from that, from Brian Little, was he signed Dwight York once and Sam Aiston 3 times. That's not a recipe for success.
Yeah, quality. But that'll be brilliant. Appreciate everyone's support.
See you
Amazing.
later. Bye.
In the Stiffs with Budging Motors. Budging Motors are on Stafford Park in Telford and Featherbed Lane in Shrewsbury. For all your car needs, contact Budging now.